Welcome to another episode of Management Unplugged by GR. Ever wonder why some companies, like IBM, manage to reinvent themselves over and over again, staying relevant through decades of just monumental change, while others, who were once absolute giants, they disappear from the scene, like yesterday's news. What is their core differentiator? Is it just luck? Or is there some kind of underlying blueprint to sustain success that some companies master while others, they miss it entirely? Today, we're doing a deep dive into that very blueprint, the business model. We're going to unpack why understanding this concept isn't just for startup gurus or corporate titans, but really for anyone looking to build, grow, or even just understand how the world of commerce truly works.
What's truly fascinating here is that the idea of a business model often feels abstract, something you might discuss in a boardroom, but it's actually incredibly concrete. It's the hidden architecture, the very DNA that determines whether a company can adapt, thrive, or eventually just crumble under the weight of change. We'll explore how these models have quite literally reshaped entire industries, shifting, billions of dollars in value across the global economy. Consider this. Historically, business models that didn't even exist before the 1960s, they now make up over 90% of the market capitalization in retail. 90%. And for the computer industry, get this, business models that emerged post-1980 account for a full 100% of its current market value.
Wow, 100%.
100%. Think about that for a moment. All the value created in the computer industry today, from those early mainframes to the powerful devices in our pockets, it stems from models that simply didn't exist a few decades ago. This isn't just a trend, it's a fundamental rewrite of the rules of commerce. Even more striking, 13 of the last 26 companies to enter the Fortune 500 got there because they innovated their business model, not just their products. Okay, so it's not just about having a better gadget then. Exactly. So the first big takeaway here is that how a company organizes itself to deliver value is often more critical for long-term survival than what product it sells. It's fundamental to modern commerce.
That's a powerful framework. So to ensure our listeners really grasp the foundation, let's break down what a business model truly is. We're going to demystify it, break it down into its core components, see how they fit together, and then look at some incredible stories of companies that mastered this art of reinvention. You'll walk away with a crystal clear understanding of what makes a business tick and maybe even how to rethink your own approach. This isn't just for the C-suite or venture capitalists. It's for anyone who wants to truly understand how value is created and captured in the modern world. So what exactly is a business model then? Think of it as the secret recipe, the fundamental blueprint for how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. It's not just about having a great product. It's about how that product gets to the customer, how you operate behind the scenes, and how you actually make money doing it. And it really boils down to 4 interlocking, interdependent elements. Imagine it like a finely tuned engine with 4 critical cylinders. If one cylinder isn't firing correctly, the whole machine will sputter, no matter how shiny the exterior. They all need to work in precise harmony. First up, the heart of it all, the value proposition. This isn't just about what you sell, it's about what job you're doing for your customer. And by job, we mean a fundamental problem in their life that needs a solution, a deep-seated need they're already trying to address. It's about helping them accomplish something more effectively, maybe more conveniently, or more affordably. For example, it's not just selling coffee. For some, it's providing that third place between work and home, a cozy spot for connection or quiet reflection, that sense of community. Or think about a product that helps you finally organize that one messy drawer in your house that drives you crazy. We all have one, right?
That one that's been bugging you for years. That's a job being done. It's about solving their problem, not telling them what their problems should be.
And this job has layers, absolutely. It's not just functional, like I need to transport this package from point A to point B. That's the obvious part. It also has emotional and social dimensions. Think about the peace of mind that comes with knowing a critical document will arrive on time and intact.
Right. Reliability.
Or the professional image you project when your delivery service is impeccably reliable. Those are the deeper elements of the job. And the crucial insight here, I think, is that if your value proposition is trying to help customers do something they aren't already trying to do, well, even if they should be trying to do it for their own good, it's just not a viable basis for a business model.
You can't create the need out of thin air.
Exactly. You can't force a need. You have to identify an existing one and solve it better or differently. That foundational misunderstanding is where so many well-intentioned ideas just fall apart. Okay, so once you know the core job you're doing, you need the stuff to actually do it. That's
Yeah.
your resources, right? These are the assets you need to deliver on that value proposition. We're talking about your people, the human capital with their skills and knowledge, your technology, from software to machinery, your actual products or services, your network of suppliers.
Distribution channels.
Right. Or distribution channels that get your offering to the customer, your equipment, your facilities, your brand equity, that intangible value, the loyalty your brand commands, and of course, cash. Can't forget cash.
Definitely not.
These are the tangible and intangible things you can generally hire, fire, buy, sell, build, or even, I suppose, strategically destroy. They are the raw ingredients and the specialized tools in your business model kitchen, so to speak.
And as a company employs those resources to deliver value, repeatable actions naturally emerge. These are your processes. Think of them as the how we do things around here. From the rigorous training of new hires to the intricate steps of manufacturing products, from the annual budgeting cycle to how you handle a customer service inquiry, the nitty-gritty.
The operational DNA.
Exactly. Some processes are visibly codified, written down in manuals, carefully managed like a meticulous checklist for an airplane pilot, very structured. But many, over time, become embedded as habitual ways of working. They become just the way we do things, almost part of the organizational culture. They're followed by assumption rather than explicit decision.
So kind of like muscle memory for the company.
That's a great way to put it. And this is often where the real secret to efficiency lies, in those ingrained, almost unconscious rhythms and routines that allow the entire operational engine to run smoothly and predictably. It's the silent hum of an efficient operation, often invisible to outsiders.
Okay, value prop, resources, processes. What's the fourth? The money. Finally, the big one, especially for the business owners and investors out there, the profit formula.
The bottom line.
This is how you actually make money, the financial engine of your entire operation. It defines the gross and net margins you need to achieve, considering your fixed and variable costs. Are you a high-margin, low-volume kind of business, where each sale brings in a significant chunk, but you don't sell many units like a bespoke luxury car maker?
Right.
Or are you slinging millions of items at razor-thin margins, hoping volume makes up the difference like a discount retailer? This formula also tells you how big you need to get just to break even and how fast you need to turn over your assets, your inventory, your receivables to get adequate returns on your investment. It's really the blueprint for financial viability.
And to sum it all up neatly, the value proposition is all about value for the customer, what crucial problem you're solving for them. And the profit formula is about value for the company and its owners, how you sustain your operations, generate cash flow, and ultimately deliver returns. The resources and processes, then, they're the engine room, describing how that value gets delivered efficiently and consistently to both the customer and the company.
The mechanics.
Yeah, they are the operational gears and cogs that connect the customer's need to the company's financial success.
And this is where the genius of the business model truly shines, isn't it? These four core elements aren't just standalone boxes, but a dynamically interconnected system. The arrows between them are completely bidirectional. It's not a one-way street.
That's key.
Sometimes you might start by identifying a profound customer need, that value proposition, and then you build out the necessary resources, establish the efficient processes, and finally, figure out the profit formula that allows you to capture value. Identify a problem, gather what you need, standardize how you do it, and then price it. Makes sense. But other times, especially when cost is a huge factor in the market, you might start with a target price and margin. You say, okay, we need to sell this for X price to make Y profit to be competitive.
Right, work backwards.
And then you work backward, reverse engineering the processes and resources that can deliver that product or service within those strict financial constraints. It's a constant, dynamic interplay, a really delicate balancing act to ensure all four components support each other effectively. All right, so we've got the four foundational pillars, the magic boxes, that make up any business model. Now, let's talk about the big D disruption.
Oh, yes, the D word.
This word gets thrown around a lot in boardrooms, in the news, everywhere, often with a sense of dread, right? But what does it really mean for business models? And is it solely a threat, or could it actually be a powerful opportunity?
Well, it turns out failing to innovate or adapt your business model is the primary reason why established market leaders, those seemingly unshakable giants, often get dethroned by disruptive challengers.
So it's not usually the product itself.
Often not. It's not just about a better product. It's about a fundamentally different and often more accessible way of doing business that undermines the old model. Disruption, as we generally understand it, typically requires three key enablers. Think of them as a powerful trifecta that can really turn an industry on its head. First, there's usually a technological innovation that simplifies a previously complex problem.
Okay, simplifies it.
Yeah. Imagine something that was once so complicated, so arcane, that only a few highly skilled experts with specialized tools could design or provide it. Think big, expensive, complex. Now, this new technology makes it so simple that people with far less training and far fewer resources can actually do it well.
Like democratization of technology.
Exactly. Consider the history of computing. They started as giant, room-sized mainframes, costing millions, requiring armies of experts in special, climate-controlled facilities just to operate.
Right, inaccessible to almost everyone.
Totally. Then came the microprocessor. Suddenly, designing a computer wasn't this incredibly complex, experimental, highly specialized process anymore. It was simplified so much that, famously, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak could piece one together in a garage,
The classic story.
and Michael Dell could assemble them in his college dorm room. That simplifying technology changed everything, opening the door for entirely new ways of delivering computing power to a much wider audience. It democratized the ability to compute. But, and this is crucial, a simplifying technology alone isn't enough. It needs to be embedded within a disruptive business model.
So the tech needs the right vehicle.
Precisely. This means its resources, processes, and profit formula are all precisely aligned to deliver that newly simple, affordable solution in a cost-effective way. Take Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC, for instance. They were a leading mini-computer maker through the 70s and 80s. Huge company. They had access to microprocessors, even made some of the best in-house. They understood the technology perfectly.
So they had the tech part nailed.
They did. But their existing business model, honed over decades for high-margin mini-computers, just couldn't profitably sell a computer for less than, say, $50,000. Their processes for manufacturing, their sales force structure, their cost structure, their entire way of doing business was built for high-value, large-scale machines sold through direct enterprise sales. Very different world.
Right.
So despite having the technology, they were ultimately disrupted and eventually toppled by desktop computers that came in at a fraction of that price. Why? Because those desktop computers had an entirely different disruptive business model supporting them, one built for mass market affordability and distribution.
Okay, so you need the tech and you need the business model that fits it. What's the third piece?
The third enabler is a new value network. This is the entire ecosystem. Think suppliers, distributors, complementary service providers, and crucially, the customers that share similar value propositions and profit formulas. They tend to develop products in a similar rhythm and at a similar cost structure.
So the whole neighborhood matters.
It really does. If a new disruptive business tries to grow within the old value network, that network often forces it to conform to its established rhythms, its existing profit formulas, its traditional ways of delivering value. It effectively stifles the disruption. It's like trying to plant a delicate sapling that needs full sun and specific soil in a dense old-growth forest where the established trees have already claimed all the light and nutrients.
Yeah, it gets choked out.
Exactly. The new sapling needs its own fertile ground, its own unique ecosystem to flourish, otherwise it simply gets squeezed out by the old guard.
That's a powerful and often counterintuitive point. So it's not enough to just have the shiny new tech then. Even if you invent the microprocessor, you could still fail if you don't nail the business model in the network.
That seems to be the pattern.
That seems like a critical distinction that a lot of tech companies, even today, might overlook when they focus solely on product innovation. And this next point you mentioned earlier is truly profound for understanding corporate survival. Historically, we see this striking pattern. No company that dominated an existing competitive arena managed to also lead in a new, disruptive one, unless they took a very specific, radical step. What was that again?
Establishing a completely separate business unit.
Right. Why? Why couldn't they just do it internally?
Because the resources, processes, and profit models needed for the old way are just fundamentally different from the new. Trying to force a new disruptive business model into an old established structure, well, it's like trying to make a highly specialized Formula One car compete in an off-road rally.
Wrong tool for the job.
Completely. It's designed for a totally different environment and a different challenge. Individual business units rarely evolve because their four foundational pillars are so interdependent. They are optimized to do exactly what they were designed to do, often with incredible efficiency. But a corporation can evolve through business model innovation across its different units by thoughtfully spinning up new entities that are designed for different environments and different market opportunities.
So the corporation evolves, not necessarily the original unit.
Precisely. And IBM is just a prime example of this corporate evolution, demonstrating this principle beautifully over decades. They were the only mainframe computer maker to successfully become a leader in minicomputers. How did they achieve this where others failed? Well, they didn't try to make minicomputers in their main Poughkeepsie mainframe factory. Mainframes were these huge beasts made by the hundreds per year, sold for over $2 million each back then, and needed extremely high gross margins, around 60%. Huge overheads, specialized production, complex sales.
Very niche, very high-end.
Exactly. Instead, IBM created a different business unit in Rochester, Minnesota. These mini-computers sold for a far lower price point, around $200,000. Were made by the tens of thousands, and required a much lower but still healthy 45% gross margin. Different scale, different economics, different unit, with totally different processes and resources optimized for that new reality. The old mainframe system simply could not accommodate the new profit formula and volume requirements.
So they quarantined the new thing.
In a sense, yes. Then, in another impressive leap, IBM was also the only mini-computer maker to become a leader in personal computers. And again, they followed the same playbook. They created a different business unit, this time down in Boca Raton, Florida. PCs were made by the millions, sold for a dramatically lower price of around $2,000 initially, and only needed 40% gross margins at first, which quickly dropped to 25% as volume soared and competition intensified.
Wow, quite a drop.
Huge drop. But you can see the consistent pattern. Each leap into a new disruptive market required a fundamentally different operational and financial model, housed in a distinct, separate organizational structure. And when IBM launched its PC business, the innovation wasn't just in creating a new unit. It was in proactively building an entirely new value network to support it.
Ah, the ecosystem again.
Absolutely. They knew that for personal computers to truly take off and reach the mass market, they needed a whole ecosystem of suppliers, distributors, and even new types of customers. So they strategically invested in Intel to secure microprocessors, gave a huge game-changing purchase order to a small software company up in Seattle called Microsoft.
Heard of them.
Yeah, for their operating system. Did the same for Seagate for disk drives. They essentially kickstarted the PC supply chain. They even had to set up their own network of retail stores because no existing retailers could profitably and competently sell these new desktop computers. Yeah. There's a whole new product class needing different sales and support.
They had to build the market infrastructure too.
They really did.
Yeah.
Without building this whole new ecosystem, this entire new value network tailored to the PC's disruptive business model, their venture might not have succeeded, or at least would have taken much, much longer. And crucially, as the original mainframe and mini-computer business models got disrupted over time, IBM actually sold off or shut down most of those hardware units and smartly pivoted to services and IT consulting, establishing new business models for those areas.
So they shed the old skin.
Exactly. IBM, the corporation, evolved significantly, while its individual business units stayed true to their specific models, either thriving in their niche or being strategically divested as the market shifted. Most other computer makers failed to evolve because they didn't engage in this kind of business model innovation at the corporate level. They tried to force the new into the old, and it just didn't work.
Fascinating. Okay, so where do these opportunities for new business models typically pop up? You mentioned concentric circles earlier.
Yeah, think of markets as sort of expanding concentric circles. In the past, many things were often decentralized problems solved right where they occurred. You need to calculate something. You grab a slide rule or maybe a mechanical adding machine. Simple tools used locally. Then, expensive complex technology often drives a period of centralization. You have to go to the experts, the mainframes, the central hospital with its specialized MRI machine. If you needed complex computations done, you took your punch cards to the one mainframe on campus or maybe a specialized service bureau.
Right, knowledge and tools become concentrated.
But then, the really profound shift happens. Decentralization. Successive waves of disruptive innovation make products and services so affordable and simple that a much larger, often less skilled, less wealthy population can now own and use them independently, wherever they are.
Bringing the power back out to the edges.
Exactly. Consider the computer analogy again.
Yeah.
From slide rules to mainframes, that was centralization. Then came mini computers, followed by desktops, notebooks, and now powerful handheld devices, a continuous process of decentralization.
Making it smaller, cheaper, easier.
Yes. Each step made computing simpler and more affordable, disrupting the prior generation and moving it into a wider circle of users. The companies in the inner circles often focused on sustaining innovations within their own model, like making mainframes faster or mini computers more powerful for their existing high-end customers, often found their customers eventually drawn away as the outer circle products became good enough for many of their needs, or even superior in terms of convenience and accessibility.
So the good enough revolution.
Pretty much. And it's interesting because many people assume competition always drives prices down. But head-on competition among similar business models within one of those concentric circles often drives prices up.
Wait, up? How does that work?
Think about hospitals all vying for the latest multi-million-dollar surgical robot, or elite universities investing in ever more luxurious facilities, fancy gyms, gourmet dining halls.
The amenities race.
Exactly. They're competing to offer better and better to capture higher margins and attract the most lucrative customers within their existing model. This kind of sustaining innovation competition, this features arms race, often drives costs and prices higher, not lower.
That's a fascinating twist on traditional economics. So if companies in that inner circle are always chasing higher margins and more features, does that create a blind spot for them when a truly decentralized, simpler, and more affordable model emerges?
It absolutely can. They might be optimizing for the wrong kind of competition, focusing on their peers instead of the threat emerging from the periphery. The type of competition that does truly drive prices down is disruption that enables decentralization. It offers a simpler, more affordable, more convenient solution to a wider, often underserved audience, which inherently shifts the cost structure and profit formula downwards.
Okay, so this leads to different kinds of opportunities.
Exactly. It points to two big types of opportunities for business model innovation. First, there's often a broader circle of people trying to do a job, but they're currently stuck with clunky, inconvenient, or overly expensive solutions because nobody has created a simple, affordable, convenient product or service specifically for them.
The underserved market.
Right. We call these new market disruptions. Think about a vast population that currently have to cobble together a solution for a problem, or maybe they just do without because the existing offerings are too complex or expensive.
Like doing taxes before simple software.
Perfect example. Before TurboTax, many people just dreaded doing their taxes or paid an expensive accountant. TurboTax offered a simpler, affordable way to do a job that millions of people already needed done but didn't have a good solution for. That's a new market disruption.
Okay, what's the second type?
The second is low-end disruption. This happens within an existing market. It occurs if competitors, in their relentless pursuit of higher margins and more sophisticated offerings for their most demanding customers, have actually overshot what many customers can realistically use or are willing to pay for.
They've added too many bells and whistles nobody wants to pay for.
Precisely. This leaves a significant opening at the bottom of the market for a fundamentally lower-cost business model to come in and serve that overlooked segment. It's about finding that sweet spot where good enough meets affordability.
Like budget airlines.
Exactly like Southwest Airlines. While traditional airlines were adding first-class cabins and elaborate meal services, Southwest came in with a no-frills, point-to-point model that was definitely good enough for many travelers and drastically cheaper. That's classic low-end disruption.
Got it. Now, sometimes you mentioned innovation can be disruptive to competitors, but doesn't require a new business model for the company doing the innovating.
Yes, that's an important distinction. Think about Procter & Gamble. Within the past decade or so, they've launched innovations like Crest White strips.
Right, teeth whitening at home.
Exactly. Or products like Dryl and Swash that allow for home dry cleaning. Now, these were undoubtedly disruptive to dental professionals and traditional dry cleaners, respectively. They offered a simpler, more convenient, and more affordable way to get a job done. But P&G didn't need a new business model because the development, marketing, sales processes, and importantly, the profit formulas were completely compatible with their existing setup.
Still selling consumer goods through stores.
Right. They were still selling consumer packaged goods through established retail channels, leveraging their existing brand power and distribution networks, fit right in. However, if P&G were to formulate, say, a very low-cost brand designed specifically to compete directly with store brands or deep discounters, that would likely require a new business model because it would fundamentally challenge their existing high-margin profit formula and necessitate a totally different approach to resources, processes, marketing, everything. It would be a different beast entirely for P&G, likely needing its own unit, maybe even its own supply chain.
Makes sense. Okay, let's bring all these concepts to life. You mentioned a story from commodity chemicals, Not usually where you think of radical innovation.
Exactly. Get ready for the mini-drama of Dow Corning and their creation of Geameter. Dow Corning, a major maker of silicones, those incredible inorganic polymer products used in, well, everything from shampoos and conditioners to protective coatings, sealants, adhesives, was a highly successful, well-established company.
Big player.
Huge, with a premium service-intensive model, lots of technical support, lots of hand-holding. But around the year 2000, they noticed a significant problem. Many of their experienced high-volume customers no longer needed all the fancy, often free, technical services and sales engineering Dow Corning was offering. These customers were sophisticated. They knew exactly what product specs they wanted.
They didn't need the training wheels anymore.
Pretty much. And critically, they were flocking to Asian manufacturers who were selling similar quality silicones for 15–20% cheaper.
Ouch. That hurts in commodities.
Big time. This was starting to really hurt Dow Corning's bottom line, especially in a business where profitability is highly sensitive to capacity utilization and scale. They were bleeding volume to these lower-cost alternatives.
So what did they do? Panic.
Well, facing this existential challenge, Dow Corning's CEO at the time, Gary Anderson, made a truly bold and counterintuitive move in 2002. He tasked one of his executives, Don Sheets, to form a completely new business unit, codenamed Geameter.
Secret project name. I like it.
Yeah, and Sheets' mission was clear and incredibly tough. Figure out a business model that could sell high-quality silicones at 15% lower prices without compromising profitability for Dow Corning overall.
Whoa. Lower price, same profit.
Huh. Exactly. This wasn't about cutting corners on quality or moving production offshore. It was about radically rethinking the entire delivery model. It was a dramatic value proposition shift from high service to high volume, low cost. To hit that 15% lower price point, Geameter had to have absolutely minimal overheads, rock bottom, which required a lean, highly standardized approach. And this led to some very specific, often drastic choices for their business model. No custom engineering customers could only order from an existing standard catalog of products. Take it or leave it.
No special requests.
None. Only full tank car orders were accepted, no small batches to maximize volume efficiency. Crucially, no talking to a salesperson on the phone. All orders had to be placed online. Fully automated sales process to strip out costs.
Wow. Zero touch.
Pretty close. To ensure high asset turns critical for profitability in the commodity business, orders were shipped from scheduled production runs, not from inventory. This meant customers might have to wait a bit, but it kept capital costs way down. And for people, Sheets sought out confident, knowledgeable Dow Corning employees who could make fast decisions without layers of hierarchy people who were team players, but maybe didn't quite fit the traditional Dow Corning culture. They needed to think differently, more entrepreneurially.
A different breed.
Yeah. He even asked candidates to decide on the spot if they'd take the job, emphasizing the immediate commitment and pioneering spirit required for this new venture. The whole thing was designed to be low-touch, service-averse, and highly standardized, a complete polar opposite to Dow Corning's traditional high-service customized model.
Oh, okay. Sounds radical. But the truly critical moment, you said, came when Sheets faced a pivotal question. Could this lean, mean, online Geameter model actually thrive within the traditional Dow Corning system without being stifled or corrupted?
Exactly. He knew that cultural clashes, operational friction, could kill the new venture before it even had a chance. The old ways could just smother it.
So how did he test that?
He set up an experimental war game, a simulation. He wanted to see how Dow Corning's existing staff, existing systems, existing culture would react to Geameter's starkly different rules, its new processes, its whole way of doing business.
And the result?
Geameter was, in Sheets' own words, crushed in the simulation.
Crushed. Wow.
Yeah. Entrenched habits, existing processes, ingrained assumptions at Dow Corning completely thwarted the attempts to play by Geameter's new rules. How they sold, how they served customers, managed orders, handled exceptions, all of it was just incompatible. It became crystal clear. While Geameter could leverage Dow Corning's massive manufacturing capacity, that was fine, their administrative systems, internal rules, and ingrained culture were so foreign to Dow Corning's traditional way of thinking that trying to share any other resources or processes would simply destroy Geameter's crucial low-cost, high-volume profit formula.
It was like an organizational immune system rejecting a foreign body.
Perfectly put. This simulation led to a truly breakthrough insight and a critical rule. Geameter had to be a separate business unit with its own distinct business model. The only leveraging allowed was when Geameter actively pulled resources or processes from the core Dow Corning business, like utilizing their manufacturing plants or buying raw materials at an arm's length price. Crucially, Dow Corning could not push any resources or processes onto Xyometer.
No forcing things on them.
Right, because the motivation for pushing things like spreading overhead costs, forcing adherence to old corporate policies, making Xyometer use existing sales channels would fundamentally undermine Xyometer's essential low-cost structure and its profit formula. It would kill the very thing that made it work.
That separation was key.
Absolutely. This is such a powerful lesson in preventing cannibalization and cultural clash when launching something disruptive internally. It's why Best Buy's CEO Brad Anderson, when they acquired Geek Squad, famously declared, "Geek Squad bought Best Buy, not the other way around."
Interesting way to frame it.
Yeah. He understood that the high-volume, low-margin retail mentality of Best Buy, with its intense focus on selling products off shelves, could easily suffocate Geek Squad's high-touch, higher-margin, personalized service orientation. Best Buy's existing processes, geared towards product sales and inventory turns, were completely different from Geek Squad's processes, which were geared towards diagnostics, problem-solving, and customer interaction. Totally different models. So he let Geek Squad pull what they needed from Best Buy, like HR systems or maybe some back office stuff, but no pushing. He ensured Geek Squad maintained its distinct, profitable model and its unique culture. Protect the new thing.
So back to Xyometer. What happened? Did this bold gamble actually pay off for Dow Corning?
Oh, absolutely. It paid back Dow Corning's initial investment in a mere 3 months.
3 months. That's incredible.
Incredible. And it became a truly transformative success. Corporate revenues increased by nearly 40% because, get this, most of Xyometer's customers were new to the company.
So it wasn't just cannibalizing their old business?
Very little, surprisingly. These were largely the customers who had already defected or were about to defect to the cheaper Asian manufacturers. Xyometer won them back or kept them from leaving. So far from cannibalizing existing premium customers, Xyometer actually supported Dow Corning's core business. It allowed their traditional salespeople to confidently enforce premium pricing for their high-service offerings because now they had a credible internal alternative to point price-sensitive customers towards.
So it strengthened the premium offering, too.
Exactly. It was a textbook example of a company evolving by creating a new, separate business model, proving that incumbents can disrupt themselves if they understand and apply these profound principles of separation and distinct models.
Great story. Okay, so we've seen how business models are built, how they drive disruption, how incumbents can respond. You also mentioned there are generally 3 distinct flavors of business models.
Yeah, broadly speaking, understanding these can help you quickly identify the underlying logic of almost any company you encounter. Innovations can certainly happen within each type. Of course, making a process more efficient or a solution shop more specialized. That leads to incremental improvements. But the most profound, industry-shaking transformations often occur when one type of business model is fundamentally substituted for another in an entire industry. That's the big shift.
Okay, what's the first flavor?
First up, we have solution shops. Think of these as the brainiacs, the specialists you call for a super custom job when the problem is messy, unique, and requires deep, specialized expertise.
The problem solvers.
Right. Their resources often highly skilled people, and their processes are structured specifically to diagnose complex problems and recommend tailored solutions. These are often complicated, sometimes one-off problems.
Like a top consulting firm.
Exactly. High-end management consulting firms like McKinsey or BCG, crafting a bespoke strategy for a complex corporate challenge. Or a creative advertising agency, developing a unique, custom campaign for a new brand launch. Specialized R&D organizations figuring out new science, certain law firms handling complex, novel litigation, or even the diagnostic activities in a general hospital where experts are trying to figure out the cause of puzzling, rare symptoms. These are all essentially solution shops.
The work is different every time.
Pretty much. The work they do for each customer tends to be unique, tailored precisely to the specific problem at hand. And because diagnosing complex problems and devising workable solutions has such high leverage, meaning the solution can have a massive transformative impact. Customers are typically willing to pay very high prices. They usually get paid through a fee-for-service model.
Yeah.
You're paying for the expert's time, their insight, their problem-solving ability, not necessarily a guaranteed predictable outcome because the problem itself is so unique and complex.
Okay, solution shops. What's flavor number 2?
Next, we have value-adding process businesses. These are like a meticulously designed, well-oiled machine. Input comes in, a series of standardized steps happen, value is systematically added or transformed, and a predictable, consistent output goes out the other side.
Like an assembly line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These businesses typically take something that's maybe incomplete or raw or broken, add value to it through a defined, repeatable process, and then ship it out, repaired, assembled, or more complete. Think of a car factory assembling vehicles on an assembly line. Each step is precise and repeatable. Or a fast food chain, reliably delivering your burger exactly the same way every time anywhere in the world. Consistency is key.
Right.
Traditional retailing, where products move through a defined supply chain and checkout process, or petroleum refining, where crude oil is transformed into predictable fuels like gasoline or jet fuel. These are classic examples. Even many educational institutions delivering a standardized curriculum can fall into this category. And many medical procedures, once a diagnosis is made, remember, the diagnosis is often the solution shop part, like a nurse following clear protocols to prescribe medication for strep throat, or a surgeon performing a routine hernia repair using established techniques. These are value-adding process activities.
Predictable execution.
Exactly. These businesses typically operate on a fee-for-outcome or fee-per-unit revenue model, because the ability to deliver the result is built into their equipment, their trained staff, and their practice processes. Prices can often be quoted in advance, and outcomes can even be guaranteed because the variability is intentionally minimized through standardization.
Okay, solution shops, value-adding processes. What's the third flavor?
Finally, we have facilitated networks. These are the ultimate party hosts, the connectors. They don't necessarily create a tangible product or solve a unique problem directly themselves. Instead, they create a space, a platform, or an infrastructure where other people or businesses can connect, interact, buy and sell, and deliver and receive things from each other.
Like a marketplace.
Exactly. In these institutions, the same people or entities often act as both buyers and sellers, or senders and receivers, or creators and consumers. Think of mutual insurance companies. Customers put premiums into a collective pool and take claims out of it, essentially pooling risk amongst themselves, facilitated by the company. Telecommunications companies facilitate networks where customers send and receive calls and data exchange with each other. And perfect modern examples are platforms like eBay, where individual sellers and buyers connect directly to transact goods, or Instagram, where users create the content that other users consume, or Uber, connecting riders needing a ride with drivers offering one.
They enable the interaction.
Precisely. These companies don't own the goods on eBay, the photos on Instagram, or the cars used by Uber drivers. They facilitate the connection and the exchange. The companies that succeed here are those that effectively build and operate the network, making it incredibly easy, safe, and efficient for participants to interact and derive value from each other. They typically profit from transaction fees, subscription fees, or advertising shown to the network participants.
Okay, 3 distinct flavors. How does disruption play out across these types? Does it happen differently?
It often does. Generally, when an enabling technology makes it affordable and simple for a new population to own or use a product or service, the disruption tends to occur within the same business model type.
Okay, same flavor. New tech.
Right. For example, Boston Consulting Group disrupted McKinsey back in the day by offering strategy projects that were smaller in scale and scope, making strategic advice accessible to a wider range of companies, but both are fundamentally solution shops. Within value-adding process businesses, Toyota disrupted General Motors with its lean manufacturing processes that produce higher quality cars at lower cost, but both remain large-scale manufacturing process businesses. And in facilitated networks, wireless carriers disrupted traditional wireline phone companies by making connections mobile. And now services like Skype or WhatsApp are disrupting traditional wireless carriers by using the internet to facilitate calls and messages. But all are fundamentally facilitated networks, just using different underlying technologies. The core business model type stays consistent.
Got it. So when does it jump between flavors?
That usually happens when the enabling technology makes it affordable and simple for a new population to produce or provide a product or service. That's when the disruption often shifts the industry across category boundaries into a fundamentally different type of business model.
Ah, democratizing production.
Exactly. For example, Geek Squad is arguably changing the IT services business. It used to be mostly a solution shop model. Highly skilled, expensive consultants came to your office to fix unique, complex problems. Geek Squad is moving it towards a value-adding process model, where technicians follow standardized, repeatable procedures for common tech issues at a fixed price. eBay fundamentally disrupted traditional retail and distribution, which were classic value-adding process businesses, moving goods through supply chains by transforming it into a facilitated network, allowing millions of individuals to become sellers and connecting them directly to buyers, cutting out many intermediaries.
Right, a totally different structure.
Totally different. Similarly, YouTube has radically transformed video entertainment. It used to be primarily a value-adding process business. Large studios produced polished content which was distributed to passive consumers. YouTube turned it into a facilitated network, allowing millions of users to become content creators and sharers, interacting directly with their audiences. This is a fundamental rewiring of an industry's underlying economic logic, moving from one flavor to another.
That's a really useful way to categorize those big shifts. Okay, this brings us to a crucial point about how business models relate to integration and competition. Can you unpack that?
Sure. Integration is simply how your processes link your resources together within your business model. It's essentially how tightly knit your operational fabric is, how the different parts of your business work together. And here's a powerful insight. When your business model's value proposition is centered on a clear job to be done for the customer, it almost automatically clarifies the type and extent of integration needed to execute that job flawlessly. The job dictates the necessary connections.
Give us an example.
Consider FedEx again. They organize themselves around one simple, crystal clear job. I need to get this package from here to there with minimal effort, perfect certainty, and as quickly as possible. Overnight reliability. To do this job supremely well, they had to deeply integrate everything. Their ground transportation networks, their complex billing systems, and their aircraft routes, all coordinated through a central transshipment hub in Memphis. That hub was the critical integration point, allowing them to precisely coordinate all resources and processes for delivering that specific value proposition flawlessly.
Everything geared towards speed and certainty.
Exactly. For almost a decade, established freight companies like UPS and Emery were left flat-footed because they were organized differently. They were structured around product categories like truck freight versus air freight, not around the customer's urgent job. They couldn't easily copy FedEx because their existing integration, their silos, were all wrong for that specific job. They were trying to fit FedEx's job-driven model into their existing category-focused structures, and it simply didn't mesh efficiently.
Interesting. And IKEA.
IKEA is another fantastic example of job-driven integration. They've been growing across North America for over 30 years. And remarkably, no one has truly copied their complete model successfully. Why? Most other furniture stores are structured around product categories like low-priced furniture or colonial furniture or high-end designer furniture. IKEA, however, is uniquely integrated to do a very specific job. I need to furnish this apartment or room today, affordably and conveniently, and ideally take it all home with me right now.
Instant gratification furnishing.
Pretty much. Their resources and processes, from the flat-pack design that saves shipping space and cost, to the requirement for self-assembly, which lowers labor cost, to the massive warehouse-style showrooms where you pick up your items directly, to the integrated cafes so you can stay longer, to the on-site delivery services if you need them. All of it is meticulously woven together to make that particular job as easy and affordable as possible for the customer. Their integration is driven entirely by the job, not by a product category or specific style of furniture.
So organizing around the job leads to productive integration. What about the flip side?
Right. This distinction leads to a concept we can call destructive integration. This often happens when firms try to integrate around customer categories rather than the specific jobs to be done for those customers.
Like the financial supermarket idea.
Exactly. Think of the long line of financial services companies going way back to Sears in the 70s with its financial centers in stores, that American Express in the 90s trying to bundle everything, to Citigroup more recently that tried to be financial supermarkets, offering checking accounts, life insurance, mortgages, credit cards, brokerage services, all under one roof, supposedly for customer convenience. It's almost never truly worked effectively. Why? Because the job for which you hire life insurance, say, ensuring long-term peace of mind for your family's financial future if something happens to you, arises at a different time, a different place, and under very different emotional circumstances than the job for which you hire a checking account, which is really about managing daily expenses and payments conveniently.
Totally different needs and contexts.
Fundamentally different. The processes, the expertise required, the customer mindset for these distinct jobs are just not the same. The overhead and inefficiency that comes from trying to force-fit unrelated services together, often leading to internal turf wars and conflicting performance metrics between divisions. It typically destroys value rather than creating it. You're integrating things that don't naturally belong together in the customer's mind or life journey, leading to a sprawling, inefficient bureaucracy rather than a cohesive, customer-centric solution.
So forced integration around customer segments is often bad. What about good integration?
Right. On the flip side, there are at least two types of productive integration that truly create value for the customer and the company. The first arises when two different products historically competed to be hired for the same job. When this occurs, we'd expect the two products ultimately to be combined into a single integrated offering, assuming it's technologically possible and actually beneficial for the user.
Like phones and PDAs.
It's exactly. Back around the year 2000, we observed that because the mobile telephone and personal digital assistants, like the early RIM BlackBerry, were essentially being hired by people to do the same core job, which was help me to be productive in these snippets of idle time throughout my day when I'm on the go. It seemed almost inevitable that the two products would eventually become integrated into a single device.
And they did.
And indeed, this has perfectly occurred, giving us the modern smartphone, which perfectly exemplifies this type of productive integration. It consolidated two different solutions for the same core job into one much more convenient device.
Okay, what's the second type of good integration?
The second type of productive integration occurs when the need to do two different jobs arises at the same point in time and space in a customer's life. When that happens, we'd expect the services or products hired to do these distinct jobs to be integrated for convenience.
Like gas stations and convenience stores?
Perfect example. Standalone gasoline stations and standalone convenience food stores are increasingly giving way to integrated facilities that sell both. Why? Because the jobs for which you hire a quick snack or drink, I'm hungry, thirsty right now, and gasoline for your car, I need fuel to continue my journey, often arise simultaneously on a road trip or even a daily commute. It's simply much more convenient to get them both in one stop.
Makes sense.
Similarly, auto companies creating their own financing arms, like Ford Credit or GM Financial, is a classic productive integration. When you're buying a car, Job 1, you very often need to arrange financing for it, Job 2, at precisely the same moment, in the same location. Offering both together streamlines the customer's experience significantly by recognizing these concurrent co-occurring needs and offering a seamless solution. It integrates around the customer's situational context.
Really useful distinctions. Okay, wrapping things up then. What does this all mean for you, our listener, whether you're running a business, maybe starting one, or just trying to understand the world of commerce around you better? It means that the true blueprint for success isn't just about what you sell, but how your entire system, your value proposition, your resources, your processes, and your profit formula is precisely interlocked and designed to deliver value effectively. It's about designing a coherent, well-oiled engine, not just a shiny product. So the next time you look at a company, maybe your competitor, maybe your own venture, don't just see the product or the service on the surface. Look deeper for those four foundational pillars, those four magic boxes. Ask yourself, what job are we truly doing for our customers with all its functional, emotional, and social dimensions? Are we clear on that core need? Do we have the right resources and the right processes meticulously aligned to deliver that job efficiently, consistently, and perhaps even distinctively better than anyone else? And critically, does our profit formula actually allow us to capture value in a sustainable way from doing that job well? Or are we just, spinning our wheels in the mud, working hard, but not making real progress?
And this raises, I think, a really important final question for everyone listening. Is your business model truly built to deliver the job to be done for your customer in the most effective and convenient way possible? Or is it, perhaps unintentionally, merely optimized around a product category, or an internal organizational structure, maybe even an outdated one that no longer reflects how customers actually live and work? Thinking this way, focusing relentlessly on the customer's job and aligning everything to it, might just unlock your next big innovation, or at the very least, help you spot the disruptive threat heading your way, allowing you to proactively adapt and evolve before you're left behind.
A huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of business models. We truly hope this exploration has given you some powerful new lenses, some new ways to view the world of business, whether you're building something, growing something, or simply seeking to understand it all a bit better. Until next time, keep thinking, keep learning, and keep plugging into those insights. See you later. Bye-bye.